Right, there's been lots of sports car action today, folks, and there's a little bit more for you now. A very exciting tie-up between Lola, a very well-known British race car manufacturer, and they're going into business with a team, and all will become clear in a few moments. Please welcome, first of all, from Lola, the Managing Director, Martin Birrane.
Hi, Henry. Nice to see you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Martin. Nice to see you. Lola's going from strength to strength. You are now absolute world leaders in single-seater and prototype manufacturer, and more of the same this year, I'm assuming?
Yes, this year began with a bang. We've sold 3 P2 cars already, well, 3 P cars, Le Mans cars this year already. Only 5 last year, but over the winter, 8. And the latest team to come our way and put an order in is a team I'll be introducing in a minute.
We'll come on to that in a second. Do you think sports car racing is in good health? We've got the World Endurance Championship, of course, coming back. It's all good, isn't it, at the moment?
Very good. I remember when I took over Lola 14 years ago, there were no new sports cars coming up, and I decided to start the trend with the 9810. Since then, we've sold 72 Le Mans prototypes. We've put 14 different kinds of power plants in them. And
14?
14.
That's amazing.
In 9 different models in P2 and P1. And we've won with all of these different models. No, I think prototypes are coming into their own.
I suppose with Lola's reputation, you weren't going to go into a separate division of racing lightly, were you? You were always going to do it properly.
That's the only way we know how to do it, and that's why our costs and our expenses, but our products are always good. We supply, of course, customers, but we're there ready with F1 facilities to supply a manufacturer who wants to come on board for, say, 2014. New rules, new regulations, new engines. This is what we would like to do now, and continue to serve our customers.
Good stuff. Right, let's meet them. They are a couple of old hands, aren't they? A couple of familiar faces. They've been there and done it and talked about it and won it. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mark Gallagher and David Kennedy.
How are you? All right, man. Good man. See you. Okay.
Welcome, chaps. Mark, I'll start with you. Perhaps you can just explain this exciting venture with Lola and what it's all about.
Yeah, well, we're very pleased to announce today that we have ordered our first LMP2 Lola car, and that's going to be delivered in the next few weeks. It's a big move for our team, Status, which we put together in 2005 to compete, first of all, in A1 GP. As some of the people will know, we've been competing in GP3 for the last 2 years, and GP3 will continue to be our main single-seater program. But we've had a real ambition to come into sports car racing for some time. We've been involved in sports car racing as a contractor, running other people's cars on a couple of occasions. We've done the Le Mans 24 Hours twice, in 2006 with the GT1 Aston Martin, and last year, 2011, we ran an LMP2 car for another entrant. But this marks really our first foray as an entrant and car owner into LMP racing. And it's a very exciting step for us. So we're going to start with a program focused this year around the European Le Mans series, and really step through from there to build up towards a full program on the World Endurance Championship next year.
And of course, in 2012, the European Le Mans series is for P2 cars only, isn't it?
That's right, and I think that's one of the things that really has attracted us to this. First of all, we can see sports car racing is going from strength to strength. That's very clear in the GT arena. If you look at the great success of GT racing in recent years. But I think now in the prototype classes, the influx of major car manufacturers into LMP1, we're seeing a lot more competitors interested in LMP2. And I think for a lot of drivers now who are seeing that, quite frankly, the the funnel effect as you get towards Formula One means there are a lot of young drivers with sponsors who are looking to do important races and prestigious races. And I think we now offer a really good stepping stone into sports prototype racing.
Yeah. David, you raced in Formula One. You raced in sports cars, of course, in the World Championship as well. Formula One now is beyond the means of most, isn't it?
Yeah, the figures you get quoted are to run an F1 team $1 million or €1 million a day. In anybody's language, that's an extraordinary amount of money. And I think the interest that we've seen in sports cars, and Mark alluded to it earlier, I've raced sports cars in the 80s and the 90s. And in that period of time, we had the biggest names in the world of motorsport: Toyota, Nissan, Mazda. You had the manufacturers, Jaguar, you had Porsche. And I think we're seeing a resurgence in that again. So it looks like that cycle is being repeated, and we have Nissan coming on board with the LMP program. We've got Toyota coming on board again. So I think it's the right place to be with the manufacturers, because there's no bigger motorsport than when the manufacturers are involved.
The World Endurance Championship is back. It was killed off 20 years ago because it just got out of control, didn't it? It was far too expensive. They were Grand Prix cars with bodies, weren't they?
And they were taking all the sponsorship and the marks away from Formula One. But now this is going to be coming back. We have in P2, we've already got all these manufacturers, most of the manufacturers. They want to be in P1, but they're coming through P2 first.
Martin, it's another feather in your bow, isn't it, for Lola to get involved with a team as well established as Status?
Yes, well, I've got form with these guys. I used to drive with him. I gave him a drive a few times in my...
Well, we haven't got time to talk about it. I'd love to, but we haven't.
Also with Mark, of course, when I was doing my Formula One team, he came in as manager. So, yes, I'm very much looking forward to having Mark and David in with Status team.
I said to DK, can we talk about Aurora AFX Formula One? And he looked me up and down and said, shut up, you're not old enough, and I am. Mark, you've recently done a stint in Formula One, back out of that now. Sports cars really the thing for you now?
I mean, I think for me, the opportunity when we won the A1 GP Championship in 2009 and then took the entry into GP3, when I was approached and invited to run the Cosworth F1 program, it was a great honour, a great privilege to do that. And really over the last 2 years working in Formula One with Cosworth was in many respects a dream come true. I think, like anyone, when you run a business in motorsport, and I founded the Status team back in 2005, it's very difficult to turn your back on a team that you've been involved with since the very beginning. And it's very clear to me that the emphasis for the future has to be to build a team in single-seater racing, GP3 and possibly other single-seater classes. Certainly in sports car racing, we'll start with this LMP2 program and really to compete at a world championship level. The reason that I entered an A1 GP team was, having come out of Formula One, I wanted to compete in a world championship. Same applies when it comes to sports car racing. I think for me, the ultimate pinnacle of the sport in any particular area is to compete in the World Championship, and that's where we want to head towards.
So it's European Le Mans Series this year, World Championship next year. What about drivers? Anybody already on the books?
Well, we've got a number of drivers who we've already alerted to our programme. That'll come as no surprise. We have a very strong team at Silverstone, managed by Tim Scott, and who's, of course, ex of Autosport. And Tim Scott has been our commercial director for the last couple of years, heavily involved in negotiating the drives in GP3 and now, of course, also in sports car racing. And Simon Kaiser, who runs our team technically at Silverstone. So we have a strong management team who've achieved a considerable amount in recent years and built up a good network amongst the drivers. So our view is that with this investment that we're making, the announcement today, the door is wide open for us to now finalise our driver lineups in the next few weeks.
David, you bring a wealth of experience to the setup. What's your role going to be specifically?
Assist in several areas. My experience is not just with driving, running cars, being all parts of a racing team. I've stood in the pit lane, I've driven the car, I've even done commentary and television work behind the scenes as well. And of course, from the business point of view, I've run Grand Prix Raceware, founded that business and ran that, and used to run similar exhibitions like this in Japan. So I would bring a business aspect to it, and of course I know a lot of drivers as well, and we'll be able to assist in all those areas.
Good stuff. Martin, I've just got to finish with you and your ambitions to perhaps one day do Formula One. Lola came very close 2 years ago or so. Do those ambitions still remain? If the right button was pushed, could you guys go, right, we're doing Formula One?
The ambition has never changed. I put the facilities in place 12 years ago. We still want to do it. I'm still working on it. There is a 13th slot, but there could be another team, one of the teams out there that could be available. We have interest from backers and a sponsor. So I haven't given up. I will still keep trying for as long as I'm around.
It would be good to have Lola in Formula One.
It would. You mean again?
Again, yes.
Because been there.
Yeah, absolutely.
3 times before.
Yeah. And I'm sure you'll read about it first in Autosport. Guys, good to talk to you. Thank you very much for your time and have a great season. Martin Birrane, Mark Gallagher and David Kennedy.